Leo, this is your tarot reading for the year of 2024. Because it's for a full year, I'm going to focus on big, broad issues. And I guess because they're big, broad issues, I will be focusing on world or global events. Tarot really, it's not about fortune telling. It's about presenting you with energies that lie deep within your own psychology and are impacting on your psychology. And how you choose to use these energies is a matter of your own will, a matter of your free will. So, you can focus on the better energies and try and nullify the more negative energies as you might see them. So I'm only pointing to these energies. Now, I don't use astrology in doing this, so therefore I cannot be precise about dates. I mean, it's about 2024. And I do readings for every month, so if you want to hear what's happening each month, you can get it in the monthly readings. I might talk about the beginning of 24, the end of 24, the middle. But rarely is the paranormal more precise about time, which after all is a man-made construct. The other thing I'd like to say is that I'm not knowingly channeling when I do this. I simply allow the cards to evoke a story in me. And as I'm a Leo, you'll have to forgive me because I might be interpreting this too personally. And so just take what resonates with you and what doesn't. There's no need to, It doesn't prove or disprove it. It's about giving you inspiration for your own subconscious. I mean, for the last few years, global events have been tumultuous. And whilst I picked up on those global events in the tarot, it wasn't until last year that I could really pick up on how they're changing the psychology of the people I was reading for. And there's been a slow realization amongst most of us that things have changed forever. There's been a slow realization that we've been lied to, we've been cheated, etc. And so it should come as no surprise that in 2024 this bedding down of this realization and the realization that we've entered a new paradigm comes very much to the fore. And no more so than in this reading for you, Leo. It's dominated by the Judgement card, the Day of Judgment. So this is saying that those who've lied, those who've cheated, those who've manipulated are going to be taken care of by the universe, by God, by Allah, however you want to see it. But they're going to be taken care of. And certainly in the past, you were very much aware of disputes, disagreements. But it's also telling me that these could have been quite readily resolved had you talked them through with others. And I think you are beginning to realise this also, Leo. That constantly using your ego and constantly being triggered by events is not the way to a happy life. To a certain degree, you are using other people. Now, they may willingly fall into place, but it could be that you are being a little manipulative with others in 2024. However, by the end of 2024, there's another major change for you. And I think it's that you've realised the changed paradigm, you've embraced it, and you're moving towards another learning in yourself, an awakening. I don't like the word awakening. And certainly you're going to come across some information that puts things into place. But I believe there's two ways you could go about this. One is to be more charitable towards other people, both financially but also in your views of others, which, let's face it, isn't a bad outcome. But the other thing is to simply enjoy yourself. And by enjoying yourself and setting an example to others, paradoxically, it might be better than physical acts of charity. By inspiring others, you might do more than physical acts of charity. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you think of me doing these tarot readings, many of my fellow Muslims see it as fortune telling, and they will say that it's haram and forbidden. And certainly if I am influencing your thoughts, then I think they have a valid point. But if I am opening up your own thinking so that you can create a better world, maybe even that you can move closer to God, then how on earth could it be haram? Now this entire spread, this entire reading, so therefore 2024, is dominated by judgment. This is a karmic judgment, a day of judgment, if you like. And it's very clear to me that those who have cheated us, manipulated us, lied to us, probably through their own greed, are now facing their karmic judgment. Already the lies are being exposed. Often they're buried within the media, but you will find evidence of them being exposed. Okay, not all of them yet, but they are being exposed, and many of them are already facing up to some form of judgment. Indeed, a few have been brought to justice, slowly, but they are being brought to justice. But this energy coming here is a reminder to you, Leo, that this is Allah's domain, God's domain, the universe's domain. It's not for you to seek retribution, even if these things were very personal to you, even if you've been affected by very personal things, personal manipulations. It's not your business, even though it might have harmed you greatly. Let the universe take care of it. And I think you already know that. But you will see this karmic justice impacting on so many people during 2024, and this will be proof of what I'm saying to you. Now, I'm actually 65 years old, and when I look back on my life, it's been a life of conflict, a life of me being triggered by others, and indeed manipulated by others. Beginning with my own mother, who was a narcissist. And all too often I gave the narcissists exactly what they wanted by arguing with them. There's a phrase, energy vampires, that I choose not to use, but it works very well in this situation. They feed off your energy. So they don't care if they make you happy or sad, as long as they're getting a rise from you. And all too often I've jumped straight into it. And before my mother died, well, immediately before she died, she was too ill to create arguments with me. But before she died, I could see her starting to create an argument with me. And I knew exactly what she was doing. But in attempting to stop her from going down that line, it just became an argument. And yes, I do regret that I rose to it. And I'm determined to lead my life without jumping into these situations any longer. Because, you know, they're easily resolvable. Not by talking through with the narcissists, you're doing this, you're doing that. But just ignoring their provocation. So, so much of what has shaped your life could have been so different. And you've realised that now, Leo. My reaction, no, I'd like to say it's my reaction to the knowledge of the manipulation that has characterised my life. But it isn't. It was foisted upon me. The universe foisted it upon me. But I became something of a hermit in the mountains of Java. And I suspect had I not done that, I would never be able to read the tarot as I do. I would never get the inspiration because I've spent my time meditating, spent my time trying to understand things. And yes, I now understand narcissism, I now understand psychopathy. But you know, it's very tempting to fight it with sort of psychological tricks, if you like. And you do that a little, if you're honest. And that means you're still giving in to the thinking of psychopaths and narcissists. Don't try and manipulate anybody. Approach everything with love. Approach everybody, as though they're humans, even though narcissists and psychopaths don't think the same as the rest of us. Approach them with humanity. Approach them without your ego. And the world will be better if you can show that humanity to all that you meet. Leo, you've already changed greatly. You can probably tell so have I, from the way I'm speaking. And you know that the greed, the corruption, the manipulation has caused a fracture within this world. And there's no going back. For many of us, you know, those institutions that we once held so dear, we no longer have any trust in whatsoever. And you've made these changes in yourself. And in doing so, in making the changes within yourself, you're beginning to create a different world, a better world. And if enough of us can do that, Leo, then we will indeed create a better world for all of humanity. Simply ignoring the psychopaths and narcissists, not falling into their traps, laughing at their supercars and yachts, laughing at their islands in the Caribbean, wanting nothing to do with artificial intelligence and mobile phones and digital currencies. And you've already grasped all of that, Leo. But there's another major change on offer for you. Another major change which I think will bring you closer still to God. Closer still to the Creator. Whatever you want to call it. And this is being offered to you. And it comes from even more learning and even more change. But I'm not entirely sure that you take it. And what precipitates this other change that is going, well, it will occur. It's just whether or not you learn from the past or whether you repeat a cycle, I think is probably the big issue in 2024. But what precipitates it is some more information comes to you. And I know you're thinking, look, I've already worked out so much. But if you're like me, you sort of move forward and then something different happens and it seems to change everything yet again. Why does that happen? Well, I believe it's the interplay of the right and the left brain. And what happens is we get some sort of inspiration from the left brain. But it's only when it's processed by the right brain do we form these connections and do we gain this new understanding. And that's why it seems to come like a flash of light to us. So you are going to get some more information by which you can understand the world, understand life, maybe, and I think there's a strong indication that it is. You will understand the universe, God or Allah, much better with this inspiration you're getting in 2024. Now, looking at what the cards appear to be saying to me, I think there's quite an incredible twist in this inspiration, because you're left with sort of, is it a choice? It could be. You're left with two different ways of doing things, and one of those ways of doing things is to enjoy yourself, to have a good time, not exploiting others, not manipulating others, being full of God's love and letting everybody know that it comes from God, or whatever you want, if you want to call it the universe, humanity, but exuding humanity and exuding pleasure, exuding love. And I think if there is a steer in this, the steer is towards doing things this way. Maybe it's the more right brain way of doing things. But you see, we create through pleasure. If you look at the scriptures and grimoires, the alchemical process is the merger of the male and the female. Because in merging the male and the female, we physically create another human. But that act of creation is the same creation of how we co-create a better world with God. So we cannot change the world except through pleasure. Shall I say that again? We cannot change the world except through pleasure. So I'm pretty certain the steer is saying, for goodness sake, Leo, start enjoying yourself. Yes, in a completely non-manipulative way, in a way in which there's no ego. But just enjoy the pleasure, enjoy life. and your radiance will shine on so many people. And the other way, or the position of this card, I normally call it the outcome. But you've already learned enough, Leo, to know that you can change the outcome, and you know how to change it. So why would I call it the outcome? Let's call it the other way. The other way is the left brain way. Being good, being charitable. Now, of course you have to be good. Of course you have to be charitable. But remember that there is on offer a new paradigm, yet another change. And the other change is the change that allows you to co-create with the Creator. And that is through joy. That is through the right brain. So the left brain way is doing good things, devoting your life to charity if you like. But the other one is devoting your life to pleasure. And paradoxically, it's the devoting your life to pleasure which will mean that you have learned the lessons from charity and moved on further and are now truly creating a better world. And now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, surely this old fool cannot be right. And, let's check it out. Let's get some clarification. The first, and I'm seeking clarification on this Ace of Swords, so this information that comes to you. First card that comes out is the Empress, the divine feminine. Second card that comes out is unique to this deck. It's the Orchard. It's anything you want it to be. And the third card is the Three of Wands. An energy of progress, an energy of exploring the creative, the unknown, some different ways of looking at things. Feels like I'm right, doesn't it? Let's look at each individually. And as I say, the first card that came out was the Emperor's card, the Divine Feminine. Somebody, and I'm male, so you don't have to be female to explore the Divine Feminine. Somebody that's in touch with her subconscious, but those of others. Somebody that's in touch with nature. But the thing that I take from this is she's somebody that loves the good things in life. In fact, there's something else I take from it, and I'll tell you what that is in a second. But somebody that loves the good things in life. But it's not egotistical, it's not greed. She wants others to enjoy the best things in life as well, to spread pleasure wherever she goes. So it seems like I'm spot on. But the other thing, of course, is that she can mean pregnancy. And if you look in the scriptures, in grimoires, etc., there's much about the unification of the male and the female. And so, for example, the Oath of Red Sulphur is very much about having to merge the male with the female in order to be able to co-create with God. And so you need a mixture of the male and the female to create, to make a child. But this is about the co-creation of something better through joy and through happiness. The next card of clarity, the Orchard card. It's unique to this deck, and it's to be interpreted in any way that you like. But I interpret it as saying, in this circumstance in particular, life is what you make of it. So therefore, how you lead your life will create the changes that you are looking for. So if you fill your life with happiness and joy, you will create happiness and joy, not only for yourself, but for others. Maybe I'm taking it a bit far by saying you will create happiness in the universe, but I don't think so. And I think that's the profound message in this. And the final card is the Three of Wands card. Now remember, it's clarifying the Ace of Swords. So it's about creative thinking, thinking outside the box, seeing things very differently, broadening your horizons. Can mean overseas travel, but certainly broadening your horizons. So for so long I've been preoccupied with negative thoughts. Thoughts of what felt like being a victim of black magic, what felt like being a victim of narcissistic abuse. And finally I'm beginning to see that victimhood itself is self-fulfilling, and that I must change my own thoughts, even though I already have, but change them to a much greater degree to bring about joy not only in my life but those of others. So I have got it right. And I think we can summarise for you, Leo. And I'm nearly in tears. Not just because I'm a Leo, but it's just a wonderful message, isn't it? Leo, I'm so touched by this reading for you for 2024. Now I'm a Leo, so I've got a vested interest. But it feels like accumulation of my life's worth, my life's purpose, that is all coming together in 2024. And for too long, us Leos have been preoccupied with conflict. Conflict in the world, but also personal conflicts. And it's lowered our vibration and made us overthink things. To a certain degree, maybe we're still using people a little, and that needs to change. It is going to change. It is going to change. Not least as 2024, this judgment is going to continue. Those who've harmed us, those who've used greed to manipulate, to control, are going to get their karmic comeuppance. It's already started, but it's going much further. And you have recognised this change, and you've moved with it towards a much more loving, much more caring, much more charitable Leo. But there's another change, which if you want to seize it, you can. And some information's going to come to you. And whether or not you can correctly interpret that information will depend on the outcome. Now, either outcome is good, don't get me wrong. But one outcome, you remain in this cycle. A cycle of love, a cycle of being charitable. But also perhaps a cycle where you keep remembering the deception, the conflict of the past. Or you can put it all behind you, and you can start being truly happy and embracing joy. And in doing so, you will not only make yourself happy, you'll make those around you happy, and possibly create a chain reaction throughout the entire universe. And you can do it, Leo. You can do it. The clues to this are: life is what you make of it. So we co-create our environment with God. How do we do that? We do that through the uniting of the female and the male attributes. So just as it takes a male and female to come together to create a child, to create happiness in the world, we must unite the male and the female elements. The scriptures, grimoires are full of this. It's sometimes called the oath of red sulphur, or the Bahatia in alchemical works. And it's just about uniting the male and the female, and in doing so we can co-create something better. And we can only do that through joy. We can only do that through love. So the universe is wanting you to be joyous, to be happy, to enjoy yourself. Yeah, to enjoy yourself. Because if you enjoy yourself, it's infectious. You want the best in life for yourself, and don't be ashamed of it any longer, because you want the best in life for everybody, which is in sharp contrast to the world we live in now, which seems to want the worst for everybody. So it is a profound message. Yes, you're being asked to think outside the box. It's not saying stop being charitable. It's not saying stop being loving. It's saying take it even further and let the joy of this feeling of love, this feeling of tolerance, this feeling of God's bounty make you joyous, make you enjoy the world. And in doing so, you are co-creating a better world. Isn't it wonderful? Absolutely wonderful.